Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The world of mathematics, much like the world itself, often presents its most profound challenges to those who face significant obstacles. Consider the case of Augustus De Morgan, a man whose legacy would indelibly alter the course of mathematical thought. Born with a severe visual impairment that rendered him effectively blind in one eye and limited his sight in the other, De Morgan's early experiences were marked by an almost paradoxical combination of isolation and intellectual curiosity. This physical limitation, far from hindering his intellectual development, perhaps served to sharpen his focus, driving him towards the abstract realms of mathematics, where sight was, in a very real sense, secondary. His early education, often conducted with the aid of tutors and through the painstaking process of learning by ear, fostered a deep appreciation for the power of deduction and the elegance of abstract reasoning. This early immersion in a world of ideas, largely untethered from the constraints of visual perception, prepared him for a career that would redefine the very foundations of mathematical understanding. The Victorian era, the backdrop against which De Morgan's intellectual journey unfolded, was a period of immense societal transformation, scientific progress, and in the realm of mathematics, a period of both burgeoning innovation and lingering limitations. While the foundations of calculus had been firmly established, and the study of algebra was flourishing, the formalization and rigor of these fields were still incomplete. Algebraic systems, while capable of solving a wide range of problems, often lacked a unified theoretical framework. The symbolic language of mathematics, though evolving, was still cumbersome and, at times, ambiguous. The concept of rigorous proof, while valued, had yet to be fully integrated into the practice of algebra in a consistent manner. Logic, the bedrock of all mathematical reasoning, was primarily understood through the lens of Aristotelian syllogisms, a system that, while foundational, proved inadequate for dealing with the complexities of modern mathematical thought and for constructing more abstract mathematical structures. It was into this intellectual landscape, a world ripe with both opportunity and challenge, that Augustus De Morgan entered. His arrival on the scene was a watershed moment, a turning point in the history of mathematics. He was a pioneer, a visionary who saw the need for more systematic, rigorous, and comprehensive approach to mathematics, particularly in the realms of algebra and logic. De Morgan's contributions would not only refine existing mathematical tools, but would also lay the groundwork for entirely new branches of mathematical inquiry. De Morgan's academic journey began at Trinity College, Cambridge, where he excelled in mathematics. However, the prevailing atmosphere at Cambridge, steeped in tradition and often resistant to change, presented him with an early set of hurdles. The requirement of taking religious oaths, a common practice at the time, stood in stark opposition to De Morgan's deeply held religious convictions. As a result, he was unable to secure a fellowship at Cambridge, a setback that would have discouraged many. However, De Morgan's determination was unwavering. He possessed a resilience that allowed him to navigate these early challenges with grace and fortitude. Instead of accepting defeat, he sought opportunities elsewhere, ultimately finding a position at the newly established University College London. This institution, founded on principles of inclusivity and free from the religious constraints that hampered Cambridge, proved to be the ideal environment for De Morgan to flourish. It was at University College London that he would embark on his distinguished career, shaping the minds of future generations and leaving an indelible mark on the world of mathematics. The significance of University College London to De Morgan's career cannot be overstated. It represented a haven, a place where his intellectual gifts could be nurtured and his unique perspective could be shared. The university's commitment to inclusivity, its emphasis on secular education, and its embrace of new ideas provided a fertile ground for De Morgan's innovative thinking. This was a place where he could challenge existing norms and push the boundaries of mathematical understanding. At University College London, De Morgan began to focus on the limitations of existing algebraic systems. He recognized that while algebra provided powerful tools for solving equations and manipulating symbols, it lacked a solid theoretical foundation. He sought to develop a more rigorous and systematic approach, one that would clarify the underlying principles and establish a more secure basis for algebraic operations. He saw the need to move beyond the purely manipulative aspects of algebra and to delve into its fundamental logical structure. His early work in algebra was characterized by a commitment to precision and clarity. He was meticulous in his definitions, rigorous in his proofs, and unwavering in his pursuit of logical consistency. He understood that the power of mathematics resided not only in its ability to solve problems, but also in its capacity to provide a framework for understanding the very nature of logical reasoning. He sought to create a system that was both practical and theoretically sound, one that could be used to solve a wide range of problems, while also providing a deeper understanding of the underlying principles. De Morgan's approach to algebra involved a critical examination of the fundamental assumptions and operations. He questioned the meaning of symbols, the validity of rules, and the consistency of the system as a whole. He sought to identify the underlying logical structure of algebra, to reveal the relationships between different concepts, and to establish a set of principles that would govern all algebraic operations. This was a radical undertaking at the time, a challenge to the established order of mathematical thought. This early exploration of algebra laid the groundwork for his later, groundbreaking work in logic. His meticulous attention to detail, his commitment to rigor, and his deep understanding of the underlying logical structure of mathematics prepared him for the task of revolutionizing the field of formal logic. It was through this initial engagement with the intricacies of algebra that De Morgan developed the skills and insights he would later use to transform the way mathematicians approached the study of reasoning itself. His early endeavors were not merely a prelude, but an essential foundation upon which his future contributions would be built. The stage was set, the players assembled, and the curtain was about to rise on a new era of mathematical thought. Having established his early mathematical foundations, Augustus De Morgan turned his attention to a field in dire need of reform of formal logic. This was a domain rife with ambiguities, hampered by an overly restrictive framework, and struggling to keep pace with the burgeoning intellectual demands of the 19th century. The prevailing system, largely derived from Aristotle, while possessing undeniable historical significance, suffered from several critical shortcomings. It was primarily designed for analyzing categorical statements, focusing on syllogisms, arguments structured around the relationships between categories like all men are mortal. This system, while effective for some forms of reasoning, proved inadequate for handling more complex arguments, particularly those involving relations or quantifiers. Contemporary logicians grappled with the challenge of representing relationships between things. How could one systematically analyze statements like John is taller than Mary or London is west of Paris? Aristotelian logic, with its focus on subjects and predicates, struggled to provide a clear and concise framework for such relational assertions. The existing methods lacked the precision needed to capture the nuances of these relationships, often resorting to cumbersome and ambiguous phrasing. The limitations of the traditional approach became increasingly apparent as mathematicians and scientists sought to formalize their reasoning processes. De Morgan recognized the need for a more powerful and flexible system. He envisioned a logic that could transcend the limitations of the Aristotelian framework, one capable of capturing the intricacies of relational arguments and incorporating the use of quantifiers, words like all, some, and non, with greater clarity and precision. His solution was to pioneer a system of symbolic logic, a language of symbols and operations designed to represent logical statements and inferences in a rigorous and unambiguous manner. This endeavor marked a dramatic departure from the prevailing methods. De Morgan understood that the key lay in developing a notation that mirrored the structure of logical arguments, allowing for their manipulation and analysis with a degree of precision previously unattainable. He introduced symbols to represent propositions, logical connectives like and, or, and if then, and quantifiers. This symbolic language allowed him to express complex logical relationships in a concise and clear manner, eliminating the ambiguity that often plagued natural language. Consider, for instance, a simple statement, all men are mortal. In Aristotelian logic, this would be represented using the categorical form all S or P. However, De Morgan's symbolic logic offered a more nuanced and flexible approach. He could represent the statement using quantifiers and variables. For example, for all X, if X is a man, then X is mortal. This seemingly small shift allowed for a more profound understanding of the statement's logical structure. The use of quantifiers allowed for the precise expression of the scope of the statement, clarifying whether the assertion applied to all men, some men, or no men. De Morgan's system also provided a framework for analyzing relational statements. Consider the statement, John is taller than Mary. Aristotelian logic struggled to deal with such relational assertions in a systematic way. De Morgan, however, could represent this using relational operators and variables. He could, for instance, define a relation taller than X, Y, and use it to represent the statement as taller than John, Mary. This allowed him to analyze the properties of relations, such as symmetry and transitivity, with a level of precision unavailable in the older system. This emphasis on relational logic was a crucial step toward the development of modern logic, providing a foundation for understanding the logical structure of relationships. The novelty of De Morgan's notation cannot be overstated. It was a radical departure from the traditional reliance on natural language. His symbols were not merely abbreviations. They were designed to capture the underlying structure of logical arguments, enabling mathematicians to manipulate and transform those arguments in a systematic way. The symbolic language allowed him to identify and correct fallacies, to derive new logical truths from existing ones, and to explore the relationships between different logical concepts with unprecedented clarity. He sought to create a universal language of reasoning, one that transcended the limitations of any specific natural language. The impact of De Morgan's work on the development of modern logic was profound. His system laid the groundwork for the work of George Boole, who would build upon De Morgan's foundations to create Boolean algebra, a system that would become a cornerstone of computer science. Boole, deeply influenced by De Morgan's ideas, recognized the potential of symbolic logic to represent and manipulate logical statements in a way that was analogous to algebraic operations. De Morgan's work provided the key insights that empowered Boole to formalize logic in a way that was amenable to mathematical treatment. The influence of De Morgan's approach extended beyond the realm of pure logic. His emphasis on rigor, precision, and symbolic representation had a profound impact on the way mathematicians approach the study of various fields. His work helped to establish a new standard of clarity and precision in mathematical reasoning, emphasizing the importance of formal systems and the power of symbolic manipulation. This shift in emphasis had a lasting impact on the development of mathematics, paving the way for the development of modern mathematical logic and the formalization of mathematical proofs. De Morgan's contributions were not necessarily immediately embraced by all. Some contemporaries struggled to grasp the significance of the symbolic approach, accustomed as they were to the more familiar methods of Aristotelian logic. There was resistance to adopting a new language, a new way of thinking, particularly within the established academic circles. However, the power and elegance of his system gradually became apparent to more and more mathematicians. His ideas, though initially met with some skepticism, ultimately gained traction, transforming the landscape of formal logic and setting the stage for the major advances that would follow. He had, in essence, crafted the tools that would allow subsequent generations to build a more robust and powerful edifice of logical thought. His legacy is one of innovation, of pushing the boundaries of what was possible, and of fundamentally changing the way we understand the very nature of reasoning itself. The formalization of mathematical proofs, a cornerstone of De Morgan's approach, paved the way for another of his crucial achievements, the formulation of what are now universally known as De Morgan's laws. These laws, seemingly simple in their expression, represent a profound leap in the understanding and manipulation of logical statements. They provide a precise framework for navigating the relationships between fundamental logical operations, conjunction, disjunction, and negation. The challenges of De Morgan's time stem from the limitations of the prevailing methods of expressing and reasoning about logical relationships. Natural language, with its inherent ambiguities and complexities, often proved cumbersome and prone to errors. The nuances of statements involving and, or, and not could easily become tangled, leading to misunderstandings and flawed conclusions. The existing systems, while functional, lack the clarity and rigor necessary for systematic analysis and generalization. There was a pressing need for a concise and unambiguous method to represent and manipulate logical statements, one that could withstand the scrutiny of rigorous mathematical analysis. De Morgan's solution was elegant in its simplicity. He recognized that the negation of a conjunction, a statement containing and, is equivalent to the disjunction, a statement containing or of the negations of the individual components. Similarly, the negation of a disjunction is equivalent to the conjunction of the negations. These two principles, expressed in symbolic form, encapsulate the essence of his laws. To illustrate, consider the first law. A statement such as it is false that both A and B are true is logically equivalent to either as false, or B is false, or both are false. De Morgan provided a way to transition between the two, offering a precise method for simplifying and transforming complex logical expressions. The second law follows a similar structure. If the statement is it is false that either A or B is true, this is equivalent to saying both A is false and B is false. These laws are often presented using symbolic notation. If we denote the negation of a statement A as not or, the conjunction of A and B as an and B, and the disjunction of A and B as a or B, then De Morgan's laws can be expressed as follows: not A and B is equivalent to not A or not B, and not A or B is equivalent to not A and not B. The practical implications of these laws are significant. They offer a way to simplify complex logical statements, making them easier to understand and analyze. They allow for the transformation of expressions from one form to another, facilitating the discovery of hidden relationships and the derivation of new conclusions. The laws provide a powerful tool for manipulating logical statements and drawing valid inferences. While the specific methods of proof may be complex, the fundamental nature of the laws themselves is accessible. The core of the laws is the establishment of equivalences. The laws permit the creation of alternative formulations of logical statements without altering their underlying meaning. This capacity for transformation is a key feature of their utility. The impact of these laws extends far beyond the realm of pure mathematics. Their principles have found widespread application in various fields, particularly in computer science, in the design of digital circuits. For example, De Morgan's laws are essential for simplifying the logic gates used to perform computations. The laws allow engineers to optimize circuit designs, reducing the number of components required required and improving performance. They also serve as the foundation for the manipulation of Boolean expressions, the language of digital logic. In the realm of programming, Boolean algebra, built upon De Morgan's laws, is fundamental to the design of conditional statements and logical operations. Programmers use these laws to create efficient and effective code, ensuring that programs function correctly and handle complex scenarios with precision. The laws enable programmers to express complex conditions in a clear and concise manner, contributing to more readable and maintainable code. The enduring relevance of De Morgan's laws is evident in their continued presence in educational curricula. Students of mathematics, computer science, and related fields are still introduced to these laws as a core concept. The laws are taught not only for their intrinsic value, but also as a gateway to more advanced topics in logic, set theory, and computer science. They provide a solid foundation for understanding the principles of reasoning and the manipulation of information. The laws themselves are not complex to understand, but their implications are far-reaching. They offer a framework for analyzing and simplifying complex logical statements, a skill that is valuable in many areas of life. They allow for the transformation of expressions from one form to another, facilitating the discovery of hidden relationships and the derivation of new conclusions. The laws provide a powerful tool for manipulating logical statements and drawing valid inferences. The legacy of De Morgan's laws is firmly established. They stand as a testament to the power of formalization and the importance of precise language in the pursuit of knowledge. His work transformed the way we approach logic, providing a foundation for the development of modern computing and influencing countless fields. The laws continue to be taught and applied, serving as a cornerstone of logical reasoning and a symbol of the enduring impact of De Morgan's intellectual contributions. They are a testament to his ability to identify fundamental principles and to express them in a way that is both elegant and practical. The laws have become an essential part of the intellectual toolkit for anyone working with information, computation, or logical reasoning. De Morgan's intellectual pursuits extended far beyond the realm of formal logic. His fertile mind also profoundly reshaped the landscape of algebra, a field then grappling with foundational ambiguities and conceptual challenges, particularly concerning the nature of complex numbers. The algebra of his era, while a powerful tool, lacked the rigorous underpinnings that would later define it. Symbols and operations, while used effectively, often lacked a clear, consistent interpretation, leading to both confusion and limitations in the development of new concepts. A central problem of that period revolved around the understanding and manipulation of complex numbers, those enigmatic entities involving the square root of -1, denoted as I. These numbers, though essential for solving certain algebraic equations and crucial for applications ranging from electrical engineering to fluid dynamics, seemed to defy simple, intuitive interpretation. They appeared to exist in a realm separate from the familiar world of real numbers, and their properties and operations were often shrouded in mystery. Many mathematicians of the time struggled to reconcile the abstract nature of complex numbers with the concrete realities of the physical world. They were often viewed with suspicion, treated as a necessary, yet somewhat unsettling, extension of the number system. De Morgan, with his characteristic clarity and dedication to rigorous foundations, tackled these issues head-on. He sought to provide a more coherent framework for understanding complex numbers, moving beyond mere operational rules to a deeper appreciation of their meaning and significance. He approached these numbers not as mere curiosities, but as legitimate mathematical objects with consistent properties and a well-defined place within the broader structure of algebra. One of De Morgan's significant contributions lay in his work on the interpretation and manipulation of complex numbers. He recognized the importance of establishing a clear and consistent system for working with these numbers. This involved developing a set of rules and conventions that would allow mathematicians to perform calculations and derive results with confidence. He helped to clarify the geometric representation of complex numbers, associating each complex number with a point on a plane, now known as the complex plane or the arc-end diagram, although it was independently developed by Jean-Robert Arcand. This visual representation provided a powerful tool for understanding complex number operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Consider, for example, the multiplication of two complex numbers. In the algebraic framework, this operation could seem puzzling. However, when visualized geometrically, the multiplication of complex numbers becomes a rotation and scaling within the complex plane. De Morgan's emphasis on geometric visualization helped to demystify these operations, providing a more intuitive understanding of their effects. This emphasis on geometric interpretation was a crucial step in integrating complex numbers into the mainstream of mathematical thought. Furthermore, De Morgan was instrumental in the development of algebraic notation. He recognized that a clear and consistent system of notation was essential for expressing mathematical ideas precisely and efficiently. He advocated for the use of symbols and conventions that would allow mathematicians to communicate their ideas with clarity and precision. He helped to standardize the way in which algebraic expressions were written, making it easier for mathematicians to understand and manipulate them. His work contributed to the development of a more universal mathematical language. De Morgan's contributions extended to the very foundations of algebra. He was deeply concerned with the meaning of algebraic symbols and operations. He understood that algebra was more than a set of rules for manipulating symbols. It was a system of thought that could be used to explore fundamental mathematical concepts. He sought to clarify the meaning of algebraic symbols and operations, ensuring that they were consistent and unambiguous. For instance, he emphasized the importance of defining algebraic operations in a way that would be consistent with the properties of the real numbers. This emphasis on rigor and clarity helped to lay the groundwork for the development of modern algebra. To illustrate his approach, consider the seemingly simple concept of the distributive property, which states that the product of a number and a sum is equal to the sum of the products of that number and each term in the sum. While the distributive property might seem obvious, De Morgan recognized the importance of establishing a rigorous proof, demonstrating that it held true for all types of numbers, including complex numbers. This meticulous approach to the foundations of algebra helped to ensure that algebraic results were reliable and could be applied with confidence. The impact of De Morgan's work on algebra was profound. His contributions helped to transform algebra from a collection of ad hoc techniques into a coherent and rigorous mathematical discipline. His work on complex numbers paved the way for their widespread use in various fields of science and engineering. His emphasis on clear notation and rigorous foundations helped to establish a new standard for mathematical work. His work had a lasting impact on the way mathematicians thought about algebra, influencing subsequent generations of mathematicians and shaping the development of the field. De Morgan's influence extended beyond his own writings and publications. He was a prominent figure in the mathematical community, actively involved in the founding and promotion of mathematical societies and journals. These organizations provided a forum for mathematicians to share their ideas discuss their findings, and collaborate on new research. De Morgan's involvement in these activities helped to foster a sense of community among mathematicians and to promote the development of mathematical knowledge. His dedication to promoting mathematical research and education further solidified his legacy as a leading figure in the mathematical world. The legacy of De Morgan in algebra is one of clarity, rigor, and innovation. He faced the challenges of his time with intellectual courage, providing solutions that continue to shape the way we understand and use algebra today. His work laid the foundation for the development of modern algebra, helping to transform it into a powerful tool for exploring the world of mathematics. His contributions continue to be studied and appreciated by mathematicians around the world. The enduring impact of Augustus De Morgan resonates across the landscape of mathematics, extending far beyond the specific theorems and notations that bear his name. His influence is best understood as a catalyst, a force that propelled mathematical thought towards a new era of precision, clarity, and systematic rigor. He was a pioneer, a champion of formalization, whose work fundamentally altered how mathematicians approached their discipline and how they communicated their findings. De Morgan's contributions, particularly in logic and algebra, provided a crucial bridge between the classical and the modern. He inherited a mathematical world grappling with ambiguities and inconsistencies, a field where intuitive leaps often outpaced formal proofs. He responded by championing the power of symbolic representation, the importance of precise definitions, and the necessity of rigorous deduction. This emphasis on formalization was a radical departure from some of the practices of his predecessors, and it laid the groundwork for the development of modern mathematical logic and set theory. His dedication to fostering mathematical communities was also of paramount importance. He was actively involved in the creation and promotion of mathematical societies and journals, institutions that served as vital hubs for the exchange of ideas and the advancement of knowledge. These organizations offered mathematicians a platform to share their research, to engage in critical discussions, and to collaborate on new projects. De Morgan's involvement was instrumental in cultivating a sense of shared purpose and intellectual camaraderie among mathematicians, and in accelerating the pace of mathematical discovery. His impact extends to the realm of education. De Morgan understood the importance of clear and accessible instruction. He was a gifted teacher, and his textbooks were lauded for their clarity and their ability to make complex concepts understandable. He recognized that a strong foundation in mathematics was essential for anyone seeking to engage with the world scientifically or intellectually. His pedagogical approach, emphasizing rigorous definitions and logical reasoning, helped to shape the way mathematics was taught for generations. The lasting impact of De Morgan's work is evident in the evolution of mathematical notation and the standardization of mathematical language. His insistence on precise terminology and symbolic representation helped to eliminate ambiguities and to facilitate communication among mathematicians across geographical boundaries and intellectual schools of thought. The notation we use today, the very language in which we express mathematical ideas, bears the indelible mark of his influence. His work contributed to the creation of a universal mathematical language. The development of modern computer science owes a debt to De Morgan's work, especially his contributions to logic. His exploration of the relationships between logical operations and his formalization of the principles of inference provided the foundational building blocks for the design of digital circuits and the development of programming languages. The very architecture of the digital world, the ability of computers to process information and perform complex calculations, is rooted in a logical framework that he helped to establish. His work provided a vital philosophical and mathematical basis for the information age. De Morgan's legacy is one of profound influence, extending far beyond the specific theorems and notations that he developed. He was a visionary, a brilliant mathematician, and a dedicated educator. His commitment to rigor, his passion for clarity, and his dedication to fostering a community of mathematicians helped to transform the landscape of mathematics. He helped to create a mathematical environment that fostered innovation and progress. His influence continues to resonate today. The emphasis on precision, logical reasoning, and systematic analysis that he championed are still essential components of scientific thinking. His insistence on clear definitions and rigorous proofs has helped to shape the way we approach scientific problems and to evaluate scientific claims. His work serves as a reminder of the importance of intellectual honesty, of the necessity of questioning assumptions, and of the power of logical thought. De Morgan's perspective on mathematics was not that of a detached academic. He understood the practical implications of mathematical thought. He recognized its power to illuminate the world and to solve real-world problems. This practical orientation informs his legacy. It is a legacy of applied thought, of a mathematician, and saw the potential of his discipline to improve the human condition. In conclusion, the contributions of Augustus De Morgan represent a pivotal moment in the history of mathematics. He was a transformative figure who helped to usher in a new era of rigor, clarity, and systematic thought. His influence extends across multiple disciplines, from mathematics and logic to computer science and education. His work continues to shape the way we think about, understand, and use mathematics today. His legacy is a testament to the enduring power of intellectual curiosity, the importance of precision, and the transformative potential of rigorous thought. He left an indelible mark on the history of science and mathematics. His focus on precision and logic continues to shape scientific thinking today, and his lasting influence on the landscape of mathematics and its application is undeniable.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.